So today we're reviewing The Master, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams. He also wrote the movie and produced it. The movie starts off with a man named Freddie Quill on a certain beach. We're not sure what beach it is, but you know that it's during World War II, and he's with his fellow soldiers. It's clear from the beginning that Freddie Quill has a few problems, including what seems to be a drinking problem and post-traumatic stress disorder. And this intertwines throughout the rest of the story as he stumbles upon a boat that happens to have a leader of sort of a cult type. What would you call it?
It's like a
group. It's just a group of people.
It would be like a cult or like a newfound religion or something like that.
Yeah.
But really just a cult.
And it's called The Cause. And basically what happens is Lancaster Dodd, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, seems to take in Freddie Quill. Some very boring stuff happens, and also some very, very, very interesting, well-acted stuff happens.
It's kind of a thinking movie. There's a lot of scenes that not much happens, but it's kind of in that, subtle, understated plot development that the movie actually has potential.
Yeah. The movie's really slow. I mean, the running time of the movie is 137 minutes. Whether it's way too long is debatable. Did you guys think it was too long?
Yeah.
Well, I think what they were trying to do, they were trying to make the slow, quiet scenes seem very, they were translating a certain message through the actor's movements.
I mean, if you took the dramatic transitions and the shifts away from those scenes, it would have been really just
sparse
yeah. And look ridiculous. I mean, it does go through some periods where it kind of seems to repeat scenes over and over again that are almost sheer repetitive. Oh, if I can reference an earlier piece of work by this director, Magnolia, it's almost a very similar aesthetic in the way that he sets up scenes. For instance, the repetition of a scene of portraying someone's emotion without them directly portraying it will happen over and over again to kind of show it.
What do you mean without them directly portraying? You mean you don't know the context?
Speaking it, they're not not even using their words or anything to describe their emotions or even showing emotions. They're just kind of viewing their actions. And
but I think that was a huge testament to the acting.
Yeah,
there was some incredible acting.
It was really good acting, especially because
gave way for him to do that.
You're seeing some actors in that movie that are not been known for being in movies. For instance, I don't know the actor's name, but he plays Landry in the show Friday Night Lights, plays the son of Lancaster Dodd, as well as one of the seemingly extras in the kind of posse of the religion, The Cause, is one of the actors that I haven't seen anywhere but in the TV show Workaholics. And she's in there, and she actually, she doesn't have much of a role, but it was interesting to see those actors taking actually serious roles rather than comedic or television roles.
No, interesting casting ideas.
Yeah, interesting casting ideas and interesting direction of actors' talents in this movie.
Mm.
Well, I think Joaquin Phoenix was the one who kind of stood out when it came to that, and I think the fact that it was so focused on him let us kind of he could be nominated for an Oscar. I can see that easily, and honestly, I hope so, and I hope he wins because I don't really see anything else winning this year. But I think that's kind of what would be an Oscar-winning role, just because he was at the center, even though he wouldn't have been at the center because Philip Seymour Hoffman was the leader and the master. They really emphasized how this one kind of random interesting character was at the center, and he was really good. All the the angry scenes, the jail scene, all of those were really, really good.
I mean, and there's some really, really long scenes in here where it does not cut, and you get fight scenes, you get intense emotional close-ups that last a long time without it cutting, and everything is flawless. Everything looks real. People actually hit each other in this movie. People actually hurt themselves. Stuff like that happens, and you can see it there. It's happening, and you really have to applaud the actors for that because they're going above and beyond.
There's no trick. There's no immense shot cutting. There's no immense mix. There's a lot of really well filmed, drawn out shots where there's a lot of content within each shot of the movie, and that's where kind of this director's talent lies, and being able to create a movie with this sense of authenticity that is kind of, it's nice to watch because you feel like it's something that you could attempt at doing. It's not necessarily like a super Hollywood movie. It's very realistic.
Yeah, I mean, the focus is on the characters, which at the end of the day is the most important part of the story.
And the development of the characters is really, really, really well done.
Yeah. I don't think they developed it enough. You know, the leader of the cult and his wife. Yeah. I think that would have been interesting.
Who, Amy Adams?
Yeah, I think it would have been interesting if they kind of explored her opinion of it all, because you could tell she was kind of...
She seemed kind of crazy.
She seemed crazy, but she seemed also like she had been brainwashed into it. Not that she really wanted to do it, but, you know, she was like there to stand by her husband, kind of, and that's why she did it. So I think more character development for both of them would have been interesting.
But definitely don't go into this movie expecting to be at the edge of your seat and your heart pumping and stuff, because it's an interesting, much like Magnolia, it's a very well done, beautiful movie, but you have to kind of like sit back and like really get into it. It's not a movie that's gonna like, you're gonna have to show interest in it. It's not gonna just like cheaply entice you. Like,
yeah, it's not cheap thrills.
It's not a cheap thrill movie at all. It's like a movie you're gonna want to go to if you're really wanting to think about a movie.
Let's give it a score. Adriana, why don't you go first?
Well, I think what stood out to me was Joaquin Phoenix and his acting. He was really good, and I hope he does get nominated for an Oscar because he deserves it. It was a really nice film to watch, but I think they could have done more in terms of character development for the two other main characters, who played by Philip Seymour Hoffman and Amy Adams. And it was a little too long for me. I did fall asleep a little bit at the end, so I would say it's worth renting. So I'd give it like a 7 or like a 6.5 to 7. Seeing it in theaters, it's not necessary. So I'd give it a 6.5 or a 7.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go rental as well. I mean, I said it was a really good movie and it's really well done, but that doesn't change the fact that it's not gonna make that big of a difference if you go and, you know, shell out the $10 for the movie theater experience to see it, because it's almost a movie that's better taken in your own home, where you can kind of like sit down and take your time with it. 'Cause, for instance, I got up to use the bathroom once, and I think I missed a really key part of the movie, because, you know, it's one of those movies that you kind of, there's really sudden key changes in character development and stuff. So it's a movie, I'd say it's a rental, not because it's bad. So I'd give it a high rental. I'd give it like a maximum, like a 7.4. But it's a rental because the actual movie-going experience doesn't benefit the actual experience of the movie in any way.
I mean, I agree with that for the most part, that you should rent it. But when I saw this in theaters, I would, you know, especially because I saw this twice. The first time I saw it, I was really interested. And the thing that struck me the most was just how unbelievable the acting was. I haven't seen acting done this well in a long, long time. I can't remember the last time. So, I mean, just for that, I just really for Joaquin Phoenix's amazing performance, I would want to give it an 8.5 out of 10. That doesn't necessarily mean go see it in theaters, especially if it doesn't seem like your type of movie. But either if you're going to rent it or go see it in theaters, it should be seen at least once, just because of his performance. And you know, there's a lot of other good things about this movie and a lot of other great performances, but it does drag on a little bit too long, and especially that second time through. I mean, yeah, an 8.5. An 8.5. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and like I said, the performances were great, as well as the cinematography. Okay, so that sums up our review.
Yeah, I mean, it beats getting kicked in the balls.
Yes, it does beat getting kicked in the balls, that's for sure.